Have you ever wanted to learn to cook but just didn't know where to start?
Well, we're the guys from Sorted Food and we've teamed up with Co-op to create Now Cook It.
A free online course to show you how to up your food game.
So head over to Now Cook It to get started, but for now, check out this video from the course.
Sharing nachos. Right, so the hardest thing about this recipe is probably the title, the sharing bit, because once you've tried this, you're not going to want to share it with anybody, especially once we've taught you how to make these 3 delicious dips.
One of which is warm, and that's the one we're going to start with. Now this involves quite a bit of chopping and knife technique, so you can put into practice the use of board knives safely. The first thing we need to do is take a couple of red onions, or white if you've got them to hand. We're going to top and tail them, halve them, peel them, and then dice them as finely as we can. We're going to take 2 cloves of garlic, crush, peel and chop those. And we're going to take 1 chilli, de-seed it and dice that as fine as possible. Next up, we want to fry these off. So half of the onion, half of the garlic and half of the chilli in a relatively small saucepan, but one with a lid. Add a couple of tablespoons of olive oil, and over a medium heat, we're going to cook them for about 5 minutes. That means that they will fry from underneath, and because of the lid, steam from on top. So the sweating process until they go soft and start smelling sweet. While the onions sweat off, we can look at the tomatoes. Take half of them. What you want to do is chop them up, middles and seeds and all. Make sure you use the claw or the rocky motion to keep your fingers well back. After several minutes, you'll start to smell that chili and garlic. You can see they're soft, starting to smelling really sweet as well. So now we can throw in the spices. The same store-cupboard ingredients we've used in so many of these recipes: ground cumin, ground coriander and paprika. They can all go in, and give those a quick stir in the oil just to start to toast them off. And then moments later, we're going to add in a tin of red kidney beans. All we've done is drain them and run them under cold water. Then about 250 ml of water. Crumble in half a vegetable stock cube, which will help to season it as well. And then your 2 tomatoes that you've hacked up. Heat it back to a boil, turn the temperature right down low and leave it a very gentle simmer for about 20 minutes until this is like a beautiful bean chili. As that bubbles away, we can make 2 other dips or salsas, okay? The first one, we're going to take 3 tomatoes, we're going to quarter them and cut out the middle.
Right.
The reason being, we only want a tomato dice. What you want to do is down on the board using the bridge motion, we're just going to quarter them through the eye of the tomato. And then you want to cut out this middle bit, fingers up and out the way, because it's only that part that we want. And this part we can then dice into small pieces and mix in a bowl with the rest of the diced onion, the chilli and the garlic. This technique is called canoeing. Now this isn't a technical term that we've picked out of the cooking book. It's one we've invented ourselves because, well, when you do it, look, it looks like a canoe.
Or a tomato petal.
No, canoe.
It's all down to personal preference. You can make the salsa as hot or as mild as you
Is that enough chilli for you, mate?
It's probably plenty. And to finish this salsa off, a little glug of olive oil, the zest of 1 lime, and if you got it, although it is an optional extra, some fresh coriander, and season it to taste. The other cool
Guacamole.
dip is basically a guacamole. So we're going to take an avocado.
It's the best bit of every dish.
Halve it.
Any dish.
Scoop out the stone. Scoop out the flesh, roughly chop it and then mash it in a bowl. Drizzle in the juice of about 1/3 of the lime that you zested a moment ago, a little glug of olive oil, some fresh coriander if you're using it, and then season to taste. This red kidney bean chili dip thing has been bubbling away for about 20 minutes, technical term. But now what we're going to do is smash it. So get yourself a potato masher and you're just going to basically squeeze it.
And then by releasing the inside of the kidney beans, that kind of like thicken it.
Yes. You thicken it up to a consistency that is, once it cools down a little bit, because you're not going to serve it piping hot, scoopable on a tortilla chip. Final thing is to grate some cheddar cheese. The great thing about this dish is you can make this sauce and the salsa and grate your cheese way ahead of time. In fact, they get better if they're left. Guacamole you might want to do last minute because the avocado can oxidize, so the lime juice should stop that. And then when friends or family come round, it's really easy to construct. It just takes 5 minutes. Layer your corn chips in an oven-proof dish with your grated cheese. Better to do that in stages. Because this is corn chips, it makes the whole dish gluten-free, and because we're using veg stock, it's vegetarian too. That can then go into a warm oven, about 200 degrees Celsius, and it'll only need 3 or 4 minutes just to warm the cheese all the way through and start to gratinate on top. Whatever you do, don't forget the bowl you've cooked this in is also extremely hot, but all that's left to do is throw your toppings on top, and rustic is good. Finish it off with some fresh coriander and stick it in the middle of the table for everyone to dig into. There you go, everything you need to know to make sharing nachos.
Got the right amount of spice, the right amount of freshness in there.
With the rich, like the deep flavours, all the spices, the cumin, the coriander, the paprika, all works. 3 awesome dips, they don't have to be served with corn chips, just as great with things like pita bread. If you want to give them a go, all the recipe and details are down below.
Do it.